Have you ever found yourself just staring at a spreadsheet, one of those giant ones packed with numbers, and you just have this feeling that there is a story hiding in there somewhere? Well, today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We are unlocking that story. We're going on a four-step journey from just raw, messy data to real, actual decisions. So let's dive in. No, really, just think about that for a second. What if inside all those rows and all those columns, there was a clear, compelling narrative? A story that could actually guide your team's next big project or its next big breakthrough. That's the power, that's the potential we're tapping into right now. So every great story needs a hero, right? And our quest begins with our hero, raw data. It is just brimming with potential, holding all these secrets and insights. But here's the catch. It can't reveal them on its own. It needs a process, a kind of journey, to turn it into something genuinely valuable. And that guide? Well, that's us. That's our job. We're the ones who take this, let's be honest, chaotic jumble of information and guide it, shape it, until it becomes a clear, actionable insight. And any journey worth taking always starts with one very important choice. Okay, so this is that first choice, and it pretty much determines the entire path we're going to take. We have to look at our data and ask a really simple question. Do we already know what we're looking for? Is there a specific goal, a destination in mind? Or are we just setting out on a journey of pure discovery with no map? And that question leads us to a fork in the road. See, if we have a specific target we're trying to predict, what data scientists call a dependent variable, then we take the supervised path. But if we don't have a target and we're just trying to find natural groupings or hidden structures in the data, we head down the unsupervised path. Now, for all of you who took that supervised path, guess what? There's another choice to make. If your goal is to predict a category, think things like yes or no, spam or not spam, that's called classification. But if you're trying to predict a specific number, like the price of a house or the temperature tomorrow, that's regression. They're two totally different tools for two very different kinds of questions. But hold on. Before we go any further down either path, our hero, our data, needs to get ready for the adventure. And that means data cleaning. This is absolutely essential. We've got to fix the errors. We've got to figure out what to do with missing values. Basically, we have to get our data set in fighting shape. I mean, you wouldn't start a quest with a torn, unreadable map, would you? All right, so our data is clean. We've chosen our path. Now it's time to play detective. This phase is known as exploratory data analysis, or as you'll often hear it called, EDA. This is where we start digging in, looking for clues, for patterns, and for all those interesting connections that are hiding just beneath the surface. And this whole investigation, it serves three absolutely critical purposes. Now, it's tempting to look at these as just, a simple checklist, but there's so much more than that. They're all deeply connected. See, a really good analysis doesn't just get the data ready for a machine learning model. It also gives us the context we need to explain the results later on. And maybe most importantly, it's what sparks the ideas that make our final models so much smarter. This detective work means getting right up close with the evidence. First, we investigate each variable all by itself. We're hunting for weird outliers or strange behaviors. Then, we start looking at how they interact with each other, examining the relationships between pairs of variables. And we do all of this before we even think about building some big complex model. Okay, the investigation is officially complete. Now, we get to the climax of our technical work, the transformation. This is the moment where we take everything we've learned so far and forge it into a powerful engine for insight. You guessed it, it is time to build the model. So what exactly is a model in this context? It's not just some black box with a complicated algorithm inside. Think of it as the system we build to capture all those hidden connections in our data. It's an engine, really, and it has two main jobs: the power to predict what might happen, and just as crucial, the power to help us understand why. And right here, this is the ultimate test of a truly great model. It has to do two things, and it has to do them perfectly. Of course, predictive power is essential. That's the whole point. But it absolutely must also have explanatory value. It has to be able to tell us why it's making a certain prediction. Because honestly, without the why, a prediction is just a number without a story. So we've done all the heavy lifting. We've cleaned our data, we've explored it from every angle, and we've built a powerful, insightful model. Now, it's time for the grand finale, the final triumphant step, telling the data story to the world.
This final proclamation, it really happens in two stages. In step one, we use our fancy new model to uncover all those hidden patterns and insights, the what. But here's the thing, facts and figures on their own, they aren't very persuasive. So in step two, we take those insights and we weave them together into a single, compelling narrative.
This is exactly why the story is so incredibly powerful. It's not just a report listing off our findings, it's a synthesis. It takes the raw data, all the complex analysis, the model's predictions, and it combines everything into one cohesive, persuasive message that can actually make people want to take action. And this is so important to remember. Who is this story actually for? It's not for other data scientists to admire our code. It's a guide for decision makers, the executives, the managers, the people who have to take these insights and use them to solve real-world problems. And that's why the story must be clear, it must be accessible, and above all else, it has to be actionable.
So the next time you're faced with what feels like a wall of data, just remember this journey. Remember that it's not just a random collection of facts and figures. It's a story. It's a story that's just waiting to be told. The only question left is, are you ready to listen?